All right, so your child can read an entire book in English, but the moment somebody starts speaking to them, they freeze. And if this sounds familiar to you, this video is going to explain exactly why this happens. So, reading and speaking are not the same skill. And today I'm going to show you what that means for your child and what to do about it. So, if you're helping a child grow their confidence in English, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I share strategies that help kids move from understanding English to expressing their ideas clearly. Go ahead and stay till the end because later in the slides, we are going to show you a strategy that bridges the gap between reading well and speaking confidently. All right, so this is one of the most common things parents tell me, and it makes complete sense once you understand why it happens. So, reading gives your child time. You can slow down, reword, look up a word, take a breath, right? Speaking does not give you any of that comfort. It happens in real time with another person waiting for your response, right? These are two genuinely different experiences, and being good at one doesn't automatically make you good at the other, right? So, this is not at all a sign that your child's English is weak. It's a sign that they need speaking practice specifically. So, if you're helping your child grow their confidence in English, go ahead and subscribe. I share strategies that help children move from understanding English to expressing their ideas clearly. And if you want your child getting structured weekly speaking practice with a native English speaker, the link for my English Confidence Club is in the description, and I hope to see your child there. All right, so reading is receptive. This is a receptive skill, meaning your brain is taking in the language that's already existing on the page. They're not creating anything. Whereas speaking is a productive skill. Your brain has to create that language and produce it, right? So they're producing and creating this language from scratch, right? From zero. So in real time, under social pressure, right? So a child who reads well has a great and strong foundation, but that foundation needs speaking practice built on top of it. So think of it like this. Reading is like watching someone play a sport. Speaking is like actually playing the sport for yourself. So both are important, but they train completely different things. Okay, so again, we talked about passive and like production skills and receptive skills. So reading is passive. So this means when your child reads, they are consuming the language, they're taking it in. It's an incredible skill and it builds vocabulary, increases comprehension. But when your child speaks, they are producing the language, right? They're organizing thoughts, choosing words, managing nerves, all at the same time. There's a lot going on. Reading gives kids time to think, whereas speaking requires an answer right now. This is why strong readers can still feel stuck when it's time to speak. They've built the input muscle and not the output muscle yet. Good. So this is the piece that parents sometimes miss. Speaking feels risky in a way that reading never does. So when you read, your mistakes are private, right? Nobody knows that you made a mistake. When you speak, they happen typically in front of someone else, right? So many kids who read well are actually more aware of their mistakes because they know how correct English looks and how it sounds, right? And that awareness can make them more hesitant, not less. So the goal of speaking a language is never to be perfect, right? The goal is a child who's willing to try. So a lot of schools train this into kids. Perfect grades, perfect test scores, etc. But remember, the goal of communication or of English is communication of any language, right? So mistakes in speaking are not failures. They are literally how speaking fluently is built, right? And I completely understand this because when I was learning Spanish or Swahili or another language, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in, hey, it has to be perfect before I can say something. But the second you let go of that notion of perfection, your language will increase tremendously and improve greatly. Okay, so native speakers do not at all speak the way that textbooks teach. And kids sense that gap, even if they can't name it. So when you speak with a native speaker, we use contractions, slang, incomplete sentences, filler words, um, all sorts of things, idioms. Real conversation is messy and fast. So when a child has only practiced textbook English, real spoken English can feel like a different language. I know I experienced this when I studied abroad in Spain. I was like, whoa, this is actually how native Spanish speakers are talking in daily life and communicating, which was so different than learning Spanish since middle school to college. So it's completely different speaking with a native versus learning in school for however many years, right? And this is exactly why exposure to natural English through shows, podcasts, conversations, and real interactions with native English speakers, such as myself, matters so much more alongside formal study, right? Have you guys ever experienced this? I'd love to hear. Go ahead and comment below. All right, so every child who's studied English has learned the same answer. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. And you? But when was the last time you heard a native English speaker actually say it word for word, right? Real answers sound like, I'm good, thanks. Not too bad. All right. Pretty good. Can't complain. So when a child only knows the rehearsed textbook version, real conversations feel foreign, even when they understand every word. So this is not a vocab problem at all. They know the words, they understand them. It's an exposure problem. So textbooks teach kids what English can look like. Real conversation practice teaches them what English actually sounds like, right? And this is so oftentimes when you are learning another language in a school, it's not by a native speaker. So maybe they're not fully aware of the intricacies. And it's the beautiful thing about learning a language, right? I've been studying Spanish for years, and I'm always learning something new from my Spanish speaking students, from movies, TV, travel. I'm always learning something new in Spanish, right? So that's the beautiful part about learning a language is natives have so much to teach you, right? And the language is evolving. So remember, the more kids hear and practice natural English, the less foreign real conversations feel. And this is exactly why I build my lessons around real conversations, not textbook scripts. So if you want your child practicing real English every week, the link for my English Confidence Club is in the description. All right, so speaking is a skill, and every skill can be practiced, right? So this isn't about talent or natural ability. It's about opportunity and repetition. So kids who get regular speaking practice, even just a few minutes a day, improve faster than you would expect. So the gap between reading well and speaking confidently is absolutely closable, right? And it doesn't require a perfect classroom or a formal curriculum. It requires real everyday conversations. All right, so parents, this is for you. So give your child time to think before answering. Do not rush them. So silence is key. Silence is golden here. So you want to ask open-ended questions that need more than a yes or no, right? What do you think? Why? How did that make you feel? Why did it make you feel that way? What would you do? Why would you do that, right? Let them retell in their own words a show, a book, something that happened at school in English. Expose them to natural English through shows, podcasts, conversations with real English speakers. If you're able, travel. Not just that textbook audio, right? So remember, the goal is not a perfect answer. The goal is a comfortable attempt. And oftentimes I like to wait at least 5 seconds after asking a question. So parents, remember, go ahead and count in your head, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, all the way up to 5, and make sure you give your child that time to adequately process a question, formulate a response, and go ahead and say it as well, right? So if this is helpful, go ahead and subscribe. This is exactly what this channel is about every single week. All right, so go ahead, parents. Read out loud for 5 minutes every day. So, hearing their own voice in English is more powerful than most people realize. And oftentimes, I have my students read to younger siblings, they read to their dog, they read to their parents, or they read to themselves, or even their stuffed animals, right? It's just about getting that voice out. And it is incredibly effective. You wouldn't believe what reading to your pet or your stuffed animals can do for a child's confidence. So, retell exactly what they read in their own words. So, this is that bridge between reading and speaking. So, practice with a native English speaker regularly, and consistently is everything. So, the retelling step is one that most parents skip, and honestly, it's one of the most important. You do not need to correct every single mistake either. Just keep the conversation going. All right, so in my group classes, children ages 8 to 12 have real conversations in English every week. So every lesson is level appropriate, meaning that I put them in a correct class based on their level. It's age appropriate, it is goal driven, and remember, my classes are all student driven and student led. So it is built around topics that my students actually care about. This is not a traditional English class. It is speaking practice in a supportive, low pressure environment. It's a very safe space to practice, make mistakes, and take risks. So if your child reads well but struggles to speak, this is exactly where they need to be. The link is in the description, and come check it out. I'd be happy to meet your child. All right, so thank you so much for watching. So if your child reads well but struggles to speak, I want you to know this is completely normal, and this is something that we can work on together. So the gap between reading and speaking is real, but it closes with practice and the right kind of support. So drop in the comments, does your child read well but struggle to speak? And I would love to know how many parents are actually dealing with this right now, because I know a lot of the parents I work with, their children are having the similar or the same struggle, right? So if this video helped you, share it with another parent, and it genuinely helps this channel grow and help more kids around the world. So if you aren't subscribed yet, please hit that button. I'm here every week with real strategies for parents who want real results for their children. I'll see you in the next one.